flashing lights dance with fire in the night. I'm wired. Watch the time pass us by. Is this feeling lying? Could you pass the lighter? Yeah, I'm trying to keep my cool.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome along to RSC EU. We are here for the final night of play-ins, actually in the rival tier. We are here for Thanatos versus Warlocks in what should be, first up, a very interesting game indeed. This is the first of the evening, of course, and then a little bit later on we've got the rest of these games ahead of you. I'm just trying to actually get up my little sheet here for the brackets that I had unfortunately closed down. I'm Tom Dillon. Alongside me this evening is Danny, and Danny, I'm excited for tonight. Playoffs and play-ins have been so interesting so far, and well, this is the elite bracket. My mistake, not the rival tier, which means actually should be higher stakes or higher level.
Well, certainly so. It's funny that you mentioned that it's the elite tier itself. I had the pleasure of actually casting it last night, and I do love maybe a slight roast now and again with a good friend Archeon, who was playing yesterday and actually qualified through to the playoffs. Funny enough, this weekend as well too, alongside rival. It's always easy to get flustered with all the excitement that's going around that Saturday and Sunday. We do, however, as you did say about this bracket, which we'll hopefully have on your screens as well too, to walk through what will be happening. And you know what, Tom, with some of the results already, the likes of Emery and Carnborough, what was already a close series, could have been so much more, but it did say Archeon's team did get eventually through. But we do have 3 reasonable games tonight.
Absolutely, it's Bladesmiths awaiting the winner of this one between Thanatos and Warlocks. That is up next on the stream before, of course, they advance through into the lower bracket of the playoffs. The playoffs, by the way, which will be broadcast over this weekend, they should be just as entertaining as this. Very excited to get these underway, and particularly get this series underway as well. Here are the playoff brackets and things ahead of you. Lots to divulge into there, which I'm sure we'll be doing over the weekend. Of course, streams both tomorrow and on Sunday to get these elite and rival playoffs sorted out. But going to ask you the pressing question here, and that is, what are your predictions here?
I love how you dare ask me the predictions, and I think everybody knows usually my stance on when it comes to that there. I think it'd be unfair and unkind to do so because the statistics is either misleading and these are big sets of matches, so anything can unfold. So unfortunately, I'm going to have a few splinters in my backside, Tom. I'm going to sit firmly on the fence.
Well, I mean, usually I just pick a random team and try and substantiate the claim. So, well, today, looking at this, going to give it to Warlocks. 36 wins to the 35. Maybe they have this in the locker. And after outing myself, it has to be said, only the 50% win ratio for both of these teams, really. Slightly less for Thanatos. But you have to say that when you finish 5th in a conference, you're going to probably back yourselves against the other conference team who finished lower. That will be the theory, I think, from a Warlock's perspective.
Well, potentially so. There's also maybe an argument that could be made of which conference is better. But again, that will be always dependent on how the results lie of the playoffs. But again, that's foresight for you, as the player statistics will also tell us a story in itself, Tom, because a few of the players themselves had some decent stats already going into this sort of stage already. We saw Archeon at once, it had 68 and his whole team was near enough new. In fact, such new, even the players on the pitch was different. This time around, much more even across the board, and arguably Mighty Hades does suggest, however, better statistics. But as you did say, that 5th seat might be, is it elusive or accurate? That will be the story tonight.
Well, immediately I'm going to have to take back my prediction and say that Kingsman is playing for the Hades side. Thanatos here. Very interested to see how he plays. Of course, a caster as well in this league. And, well, sitting there with 46 games, 46 goals, actually leading the way for his side. Probably going to be a standout player here. The one thing that does concern me, however, from both these sides is immediately as someone who hasn't seen a lot of these two rosters play, the stats aren't really telling me who their main sort of players are. It doesn't immediately stick out to you who their main roster is, seeming to sort of share the third man with between Bondab and Juice, and that can be a little bit of a concern.
Well, you can maybe make an argument either side of the fence here. I would say it's nice to see the statistics somewhat even across one team than maybe a definite sort of peak and valley scenario, because it does say they're comfortable with all four statistics evenly across the board. So it means should have an element of chemistry where the likes of the Warlocks, if you were basing your prediction on the statistics side of the thing, I would be a little bit more cautious. But with maybe that weather forecast over, harbour a bit of action as our game number 1 has just begun.
It is Thanatos in the blue and Warlocks in the red. Immediately a little bit of pressure being applied on the side of Warlocks as they come forward here. Kingsman has to collect the ball off of the backboard now into the corner, into the centre for Kingsman, who has a bit of a shot. It is cleared easily off of the line. It's going to go into the middle for Juice though. Again, tries to bring this forward and keep the attack alive, rather in vain in the end. Kingsman's going to try. It's a bit of a shot that again is cleared off the line. It's going to be save credit as well for Cinex. Into the centre for Kingsman. Ball just gets away from it now. Down the left hand side comes Salt. Into the centre, gets bumped. Then a shot comes in and Juice again with a very important save. It's been pretty 50-50 at the moment, but this one could have gone in. And again, a brilliant save from Salt under high pressure circumstances. And again from Cinex.
Well, chances knocking either side here. You just maybe fancied one could have stepped on through, but talked about last night in the gameplay about position and comfortability. We've certainly seen a lot more tonight so far as Kingsman, nice bit of control, will drag this upfield here. Juice would have been the preferred option if he eventually was to take it here, but hold on a second. It may have been a familiar face here, but Kingsman, we talk about casters sometimes playing. Word of advice, Tom. Generally, I always go against it if I see a caster on the team. Never goes well.
You say that as immediately a goal for Juice. Thanatos gets the lead in this all-important game 1. Juice took it over everyone there, essentially. And it is Thanatos who take this lead. Back underway then. And immediately trying to respond are the Warlocks. However, it's going to go into more defensive quarters. First up, Kingsman now with the shots. Cinex has to bring it away. Kingsman couldn't get the right connection on the ball. His teammate can bring it forward. Someone just on the line, on the back line rather, to sort of bring this clear back downfield for Juice to try and rebuild this attack coming forward.
I must say, the idea of the attack has somewhat been stifled by both sides. Not necessarily free-flowing just yet here. Arguably, the goal that we have seen wasn't necessarily clean outright. Yes, it was pressure. That, however, sloppy bit of defending. Should have done much better. 2-0.
Bit of sloppy defending, perhaps some nerves heading into this first round of their playoffs. And that can always play on your mind as we get back underway. 2 minutes and 22 seconds to go. It's going to need a lot of work from Warlocks. Perhaps work that starts here with an attempted shot from, he backs out of it at the end as Cinex perhaps would have been the better option there as Henrik tried to get the shot away. but just got away from him in the end. They have to recollect the attack. Perhaps a missed opportunity for a kick-off goal. Kingsman now goes up for the ball. It is recollected and cleared from a Warlock perspective. Sinex on the ball, does a nice little 1-2 with Henrik, but in the end Bonda gets it away. Kingsman recollecting on the back line, bringing it forward out of the corner, tries to find Bondab, can't find Bondab, and it just bounces out in the centre. Warlock's recollecting once more, a demo on Juice, stops any vigour in the defence really. And now Juice trying to go forward, has a chance for a really big air dribble here, but Salt on the line once more. You sense that there's just a little bit of dullness about this in a way, but not in a bad way, in a sort of Thanatos trying to close out this game sort of way.
See the sense of where you're coming from, Tom. It's a bit of a shyness of this opening game here as the third one rattles through. It almost has the air of fear from the Warlocks. They haven't came out, and after that sort of stun effect of the opening goal, they have never really got the motor running here. And you know what? The side in blue, the side that we may have just thought from a statistic point of view, Thanos could have been potentially not necessarily good. Again, may have persuaded you otherwise. Here's the fourth one goes on in. I think this is fair to say a complete and utter collapse by the Warlocks.
Yes, they'd much rather like to put this game behind them, I would get the sense. Don't think I'm ripping up any trees with that suggestion. As we get back underway, it's just a single goal for Juice. Kingsman being the top scorer in the game with 2. Bondab just the single as well to make up the 4. Kingsman down this left-hand side, tries to bring it forward. Sinex is there, and now a chance for Henrik. Can't quite get the does get the shot away, but it's saved equally as well from Juice on the line. And again, Kingsman having to do his defensive duties dutifully, as rather towards the end of this game, you sense that any goal that does go in is a pure consolation for Warlocks, as Juice now trying to go for an air dribble, go forward, perhaps get a clip towards the end of this game. Can't quite do so. Kingsman's going to give chase, however, try and force it into the centre, gets a really interesting demo play, and Henrik off the line almost finds himself in a little bit of strife, but with 15 seconds to go, I think we know which way this is going.
Certainly so, and with that being the case, I'm going to slightly pick your brain, Tom. You asked me for a prediction. I sat firmly quite on the fence here. Is this quite a simple moment here where we may have thought that this game could have been even? We may have thought that one side could have been decent, but yet again, the Warlocks hasn't shown up. Now, I'm willing to put the first game down to fear, maybe a bit of not readiness, maybe a lack of a poor scrim. What's your sense on the problems here?
Again, I'm going to chalk this up to pre-game nerves. So often in these play-ins have we seen as they get this back underway and it drops to the floor for a Thanatos victory, though we knew that was coming very early on in that game. A lot of the time we see in these playoffs that a game can go so heavily in the first way and you still end up seeing a game 4, game 5. There is still a lot of momentum with Thanatos, and Warlocks have it all to do here, but if they can put up a show in game 2, then they have a chance at least avoiding being swept in.
Well, it's a nice idea here of putting up some kind of show of resilience to this game. The Warlocks here, there's one side here, I'm not even going to name him, who I thought was going to be much better, who has really not shown up here. Yes, to some extent the statistics might favour him slightly, but when you're, well, arguably being forced as a team to require 6 saves on a shot, frankly, none of their shots were memorable. Yes, they may have got one goal at the last second. It was, and I'm going to be maybe unfair here, a poor performance here. And you know what? This has the evidence of a 3-0 sweep written all over it tonight.
A little bit more harsh than I would have been, it has to be said. But as we get back going again here, Warlocks looking for a much better performance here, and they need a much better performance. Early goal here, and they really can apply the pressure back on this probably tail high Thanatos side. Warlocks hoping not to leave with their tail between their legs as we get back underway. Kingsman trying to bring it forward. Henrik able to clear, only as far as Kingsman though. And now into the centre, Salt has to redirect it away. It bounces awkwardly in the centre and Henrik has an opportunity. Juice with an equally as good save. It was well read by Henrik there and well read by Juice to get the save as well. This time Sinex trying to bring it through. Can't quite do so. Ball still alive though. Just in this midfield area. Sinex on the ball. Bondab trying to bring it forward. Kingsman adding to the attack and it just gets saved off the line again by Salt. At the moment, much more promising signs from Warlocks who will get this first goal. That's the early goal that they need. It's Henrik with the goal. Let's have a look at this again. He just waltzed through the defence. He faked Kingsman and it's a wonderful little goal.
And these are situations that you just fancy the striker and all the moments in time here. The fact that you're in the defensive capabilities, you have to have a wide berth, wasn't given in the wrong side of the post either. So everything was fancy for the Warlocks. That was much better here. The attacks there, that's saying gobble me up, and Juice sent it high, but pressure forced them to do that. Fickle little game sometimes. A reasonable easy shot can seem so difficult in these high stake matches as that ball propped up in Salt. Needs to do much better there if he wants this sort of ball to be further to the midline. Here's Kings. Well, he's just launched that up and oh my, that backboard's looking very much inviting for a second attack here.
Of course, Thanatos will remember that first game and will want to inspire a little bit of this momentum to continue. Juice trying to get that with a shot that goes in, then Bondab with the second tap off of the wall. Can't quite get it, this ball goes back downfield. Kingsman has to track back and does very well to get it out of the danger area. Sinex trying to bring it forward to double this Warlock lead. He goes for the double tap off the post and gets it, and it's absolutely wonderful. It is an inspired goal, and on the minute, as they did a minute ago with 3 minutes to go, it's 2-0 to the Warlocks. A completely different game to what we saw in game 1.
Statement is certainly true. It's just a question and it's going to be maintained. It's easy enough to ride when the momentum's high. But there, Kingsman will be into the action here. Juicy, that's a poor idea. No infield passer to follow up through a second man, so it lets this ball to the Warlocks to do some kind of potency. Not really any damage, however, being presented in the second game here. So really, the table has been turned.
We continue on here into the centre. Thanatos needing a much better performance than what they're currently showing in this second game. We're set to go 1-1 in the series. This time it's off the wall. It's just a little bit behind Salt. And now Juice into the centre. Misses it, but Bondab is there to cover for his teammate and actually brings it forward quite nicely. Still on the ball here, Bondab. In the end, Henrik is going to collect it away. Kingsman with the shot and Salt with the save. Juice trying to get it into the centre. Can't quite do so. Salt now bringing it away. Bondab gets the 50-50 and now a chance for Kingsman to go forward with a demo on Henrik. Kingsman can't quite get the double tap that he was obviously looking for there. And oh no, he's going to bounce in. There's no one home. Juice is home in the end. But that was almost a very comical way to basically wrap up the game. Juice trying to avenge that little mistake and it gets saved off the line. Almost bounces back in. Bondab again doing well to track back on that one. Could it still be alive? No, he brings it away.
Nice to see Kingsman's hair dribble, at least presenting an opportunity that has been evading the side that should have been doing so much more. Here is Hendrik once more playing an active role defensively. This should be a ball whipped across here, and frankly, poor decision making is almost flauntering chances away here for the side, and Thanos, they need to do better here as that ball rummages back again to the midline. Will Kingsman have a chance or a say? I think the answer will be once again no.
This is a chance to go in, perhaps needing something now of Thanatos if they're going to have a chance at taking the 2-0 in this series. Bondab is up to try and redirect this high ball, trying to get it into the centre to just try and have a shot at goal. Sinex bringing it away. He's going to get the beating of one. Can he get the beating of Kingsman? He can, and Henrik is there surely to make it 3. It's going to be credited to Sinex in the end. It is a wonderful goal and the Warlock side that looked battered and defeated in the first game have a fighting chance yet.
It's to say, we've barely seen through the majority of the playing side at the section, a side that can fight back here. Carbo yesterday and last night showed exactly why that could be. Mind you, for a temporary second, I would like to say a comeback, but in these series itself, it could be a disguise to say that this will occur here, Tom. I would be a bit more cautious personally in these moments of time here, but a consolation, as you said, in the last game, rightly so the second time around.
Well, to say the thing, this is Rocket League, after all. A comeback could happen, yet though with already 10 seconds of the 30 wasted, you have to sense that now it can be chalked up as a consolation goal. Kingsman trying to bring it forward to inspire a little bit of life into the last 10 seconds, but it bounces well out for Juice, and now just trying to close out this game of the Warlocks. Bondab will try and get an opportunity. He won't, he'll get demoed, and it is going to go the way of Warlocks in this second game. Kingsman will try and get a second shot off. There's a bump actually on his own teammate from Bondab there. This is still alive, this ball, and they might get their second. They will get a second, but it's not going to matter as we're on 0 seconds on the clock, and the game rather closer than it had to be from a Warlock's perspective, but still better than 4-1. 2-2 in the series, or 1-1 in the series, I should say.
I think Thanos would probably be happy if it was 2-2 somewhat, but we're not there at that stage yet. We're still much in the infant stage of this sort of mini-series of the entirety of the night so far here in Thanos and Warlocks. Again, both sides are showing at least elements of what they could present onto the playoffs, what they could offer us for the stream-wise. However, I still fancy Thanos more in terms of what I've seen in the last minute or two, what Warlocks was able to produce in the last two games. Mind you, thankfully we don't play over an aggregate. It is 1-1 as you said, Tom. The question, however, I would like to see, can the Warlocks still come out from the opening in Game 3, get a quick goal and dominate? They have to do it the second time before we can really back them.
Well, as you said, the momentum can shift all the way back, and all of a sudden Warlocks can find themselves with a little bit of work to do as Thanatos take a third game. But you have to say, you think this could be destined for a Game 5. You just get that sense ever so slightly. We're going to Urban Central Dawn next, and the players are in the lobby, and we're ready to get this underway. Game 3 then, and it's a big Game 3 for both Thanatos and Warlocks, and the kickoff is won by Thanatos, but Salt brings it away, and we'll have the first real attack of this Game 3. Sinex with a shot, and Kingsman with a crucial save very early on.
It's nice to see Juice to fling that downfield, and that's at least an attempt here, and he will not be happy, would like to recycle or rewind time, whatever comes quicker. And off the line here for Juice to potentially drag and drop, doesn't happen, and Salt. We're seeing two clean opportunities here, Tom, and once more in a game. Neither has been taken, so I think the idea of nerves is still firmly at the foothold of this game.
Perhaps, as now we go back forward with Bondab. Kingsman going to try and get the redirect into the goal. Back for Bondab. It was a lovely little 1-2, but in the end, just a little bit away from him. Juice is going to slide back round to bring this away. Past the defender, going to go past the attacker, past two defenders now. Tries to get past Sinex, can't quite do so. And now it's going to be Kingsman trying to play it into the centre. Bondab's having to rotate back, brings this forward once more. Henrik off of the sidewall actually accidentally lays one up for Bondab, who has a chance here if he can get it over Sinhex. He can't, and now Kingsman bringing it forward. Juice with the shot forwards, just bounces rather awkwardly, and they try to go back forward to Warlock, though immediately the momentum shifts back to Thanatos, and off of the backboard once more again. Bounces out. You just need that one to bounce here, and it could literally change the series, but at the moment neither team getting the rub of the green.
The sentence in a phrase I haven't heard in a very long while. And Joe, well, it's probably most just as well too here. So the question is, will we also see a purple patch too presented in this game? We have seen pretty much a few oohs and ahs in the opening game here that hasn't spilt through, which is to the enjoyment to the neutrals. Mind you, the fans of both of these respective franchises will be on a bit of a nail biter here as that ball's been propped up a little bit too long here in the Warlock's final third here. It has presented, but very much a crucial demo. I think it'd be fair to say this game 3 has been pivotal all the way through, and the gas finally been lit in this moment.
Yes, that was wonderful from Kingsman. He faked out one, and then it's a very awkward angle, still had it all to do. Gets the shot off, gets the goal, and it is Thanatos 1-0. There's another twist in this tale, though I suspect there'll be a few more as we head through the next game and a half. Henrik immediately bringing this forward. Kingsman able to recollect. He's going to go on to one of the Warlock attackers, but booms back downfield for Kingsman. Sinex with the important save. Tries to get it over Bondab, does get it over Bondab, but Juice is there to once again clear into this corner. Gets the bump on one of the defenders as well. Juice, however, trying to recollect as Warlocks try to go forward. Kingsman with the boom downfield. It's staying alive here, just in that awkward cul-de-sac in the corner is the ball. Juice bringing it back forward, finally gets a touch and a demo into Kingsman, who again with a 50-50 just about wins it. Bondab now with the chance to make it to Bondab, can't make it to. Sinex is on the line wonderfully. It's still alive here though, as Juice is going to play it off to his teammate. It booms backwards into the corner, and Kingsman going to have to rebuild the attack.
Nice to see Juicy just prop that up one nicely. He follows it, so it should be an infield ball here, but Salt's done his job adequately well here, back into the middle. Not a fan of that. Not a fan at all here, but a great opportunity for Warlocks. They may have thrown a key moment here, and Hendricks has pushed that wide here with everybody lumped up into the corner. The idea of the attack on pause, and just make sure you don't concede from here.
1 minute and 17 seconds to go in this game. Thanatos are 1-0 up in it, looking to take a 2-1 lead in the series. Ball is with Kingsman, who's just trying to reverse into it. He's able to reverse into it quite nicely, but now Bondab with it all to do gets a crucial save. And when they're going behind you like that, they're easier, make it look so easy. It certainly isn't, as now Juice trying to get the challenge in, does so, and the ball doesn't quite fall as nicely as the Warlock attackers would quite like. 45 seconds to go. They need something very quickly. Juice is trying to put this game to bed. It's off of the post, and then Salt is able to clear it away. Tinex trying to incite some vigour into this Warlock attacking contingent. And now Salt once again trying to bring this forward. 30 seconds now on the clock. The time is against them. Sinex with a shot, and Sinex almost with a goal. Juice with a crucial save. Sinex follows up. Finally, we go to 1-1 in this game, and perhaps now, given how this is going, it's going to be a little bit of overtime looming.
That's all the sort of fragrance for there, and you almost felt sorry for the keeper with the amount of sweat perspiring from that moment there, and a cheeky slow into a fake kickoff. Near enough opportunity if it did present itself for either side here. The problem was the entry and the point of entry off the actual attack itself here. It's suddenly both sides momentarily problems. Big problem on the doorsteps here, dealt with all the way downfield. If there was time left, I would have loved to see how that one developed.
Well, there was no time left, and it is in fact overtime. Immediately a demo on who I'm being told is actually called Sinksy is into the centre. A shot for Kingsman. Kingsman almost getting the goal immediately. And now coming back forward. Juice misses this one, but thankfully the ball not going in anyway. That would have been an awkward way to end a game that you were leading for such a long time. Juice now with the shot. Surely Juice. Henrik with an incredible save. And now trying to go back forward. Henrik almost creating the incredible counter-attacking play, but Sinksy gets demoed. And now going back forward is Juice. Salt gets the tap on it, and then Juice tries to bring it forward once more. 50-50 between Sinksy and Bondab. Kingsman back forward. 45 seconds into overtime. Still nothing between the two sides. That being said, something comes in, but Sinksy able to clear it away.
For how much longer will this ball sort of be propped up in between here? Because the idea of clearing into sort of open space would be ideal here, but if they can get it to a team, it would be better. The opposition, not ideal, forced into the 50 there, and suddenly back the swing in here and Salt. Well, that's a poor mistake. That wasn't a com, that was a straight drop and a mistake. As this one by Juicy again tips it away here. Both sides, I've got to say, they've decided to shell themselves up here in terms of this OT here, as who's going to be willing to be bold, as that double commit was certainly bold. Wrong decision, and the tide has turned back the other direction. The problem is, I would even argue, both sides don't deserve to win this after this sort of 3-game performance.
It's been scrappy and it's been ugly, but we are, of course, going to have to get a winner out of it all. Thanatos currently on match point as we head into the third game, and just how influential is that going to be? The idea that Warlocks are going to have to win 2 in a row here, I think it's going to add a very interesting spanner into the works. But it is going to be Thanatos who rather unconvincingly take this victory in overtime. They did well to defend for the majority of that last game, but had to do it by overtime in the end.
Certainly. So usually when we go into OT, I'm not saying, but right, 15 to 30 seconds. Yes, we do see the occasional pause in terms of what we saw in the regulation. Both sides are, let's play a bit of cautious, nothing too outlandish, but both sides there just turtled up and almost evaded the shot with a real hit on the counter. Thanos, however, a lot more smarter, got the job done. This is some watts here. I'm not saying every time I made a statement what should be happening, both sides have decided to do the complete opposite to the grand scheme of things of the 3 games we've seen so far.
Absolutely, as we get into game 4, match point for Thanatos, and they haven't made it easy for themselves, but they're going to try and give it a go here, really needing to get off and keep this intensity up as quickly as possible. Kingsman trying to keep the intensity up, and unfortunately the shot just slightly evades him. Sinksy going forward, a little bit of a lack of boost from teammates sort of quelled the counter attack, and then this is a save off the line from Henrik. Back into the centre from Juice, trying to find Bondab, who's just sort of trying to swing round to get to that one. Kingsman back forward, Henrik able to put in a good challenge and actually bring it forward himself now. Bondab will fancy his chances of getting to that. Juice in the end covers him quite nicely. Already 40 seconds gone, no goals just yet in this game 4. Henrik back forward, and you just sense that it's going to take a big moment from a single player here.
I think we've had that sort of feeling through the last game as well too, and it's almost a sense of a moment we'll have deja vu here, the sort of segmented sort of opening game here, and I think you were right to use the word from game 1, dull. I think we have returned to this sort of shade of grey. Hopefully we'll see a burst of colour in a moment here as that ball's popped right down. Excellent save there, now forced into a second consecutive 50, and Kingsman, he jumped far too early. Door was closed before it even begun, and that there will remain goalless after that sort of small and arguably exciting play itself.
Juice now with a chance, and shot just evades him. Kingsman having to cover quite nicely. Sinksy trying to bring this forward. A goal now would surely keep this series alive. He gets the goal now. 1-0 to the Warlocks. And maybe game 5. What a play from Sinksy though. Gets past one off of the ceiling, then is able to dive down and get the shot away.
I think the keeper would be annoyed with himself on that moment there. You have a very much a slim angle that you need to know where to defend from, doesn't. And it really made arguably the net so much wider there as Salt just tips that one aside. And the second time we've seen a double commit, however, technically 1-1 in key moments there as Juicy tips it once again back into the corner, and both sides have decided to basically play boom ball all the way downfield and see if the opposition can reciprocate in kind.
Kingsman with this shot that comes in, it's just saved off of the line on this occasion, and now Juice trying to bring it forward. Another demo further back. They've been very demo heavy of Thanatos, in this game. Really relying on that actually to create some space, and it has been working for them when they've got it well and they've got it right. Kingsman now off of the backboard trying to bring this forward, tries to find Juice. Salt is there in the end. Off of the sidewall, a chance for Sinksy once more. Kingsman on the line. The two probably most influential players for their respective teams. Having a bit of a 1v1 there. Bondab now coming forward. Henrik is going to try and get it clear in a 50 with one of the attackers. And now Juice off of the backboard tries to find a teammate. Kingsman can't quite get to it. Can Bondab? He can't either. And they survive once more to the Warlocks, who now, with Sinksy coming forward, actually a chance if he can get it over Kingsman. He can't. Now just a minute and 55 to survive, but Bondab's going to have the shot, and he gets the goal for his troubles. 1-1.
Just simply poised and a bit of patience. You see that at the top end of the spectrum. Very much not down the further the tiers of RSC, and it's been played to perfection there. Rightly deserved that goal. Rightly deserved to bring themselves within the cusp of winning the series outright, mind you. Now the Warlocks, effectively, this will feel like they're trailing by 1-0. It's funny how this game can be so cruel. They'll just have to keep their heads up, knowing that the next goal will certainly make them feel much better.
It's Juice now trying to create an attack. He's going to swing this round. He's got Kingsman to the left of him. He chooses not to use him. Sinksy shadows him quite well and gets the ball in the end. Bondab bringing this forward. He's got Kingsman as an option in the centre. Henrik is actually there, and Juice gets demoed as well, which creates a bit of space before a sort of revenge demo on Henrik avenging his teammate. Salt is just going to miss his one. It's going to swing in from Kingsman. They're 2-1 up.
Just like that, and I'm willing to say that's GG's right there. The moment that ball went right and up and over with not even Salt touching it, that's a misfire. Outright and completely done and dusted there. Kingsman knows that the rest of the team just needs to play smart for the remaining 60 seconds. Easier said than done though.
As now, all of a sudden, Warlocks are playing to save their season in these so cruel playing regions of the tournament. Stages of the tournament. It's now Juice trying to bring it forward on the left-hand side, using the attack as a form of defence. Almost is into the centre, won't quite land for someone, and now Warlocks have a turn to attack. It's with Sinksy on the right-hand side, into the centre. Will it be Juice or will it be Henrik? In the end, it will be neither. It will be Bondab who gets it away. Juice now off of the backboard, back forward. Sinksy going to miss it, and Kingsman tries to bring it forward once more. 20 seconds to go then of this game. It looks like it's going to go the way of Thanatos, but they won't go down without a fight here, Warlocks. They've got 10 seconds to try and get a goal. At the moment, it's looking like it might evade them. Bondab trying to put it to bed. Kingsman tries to put it to bed. Sinksy keeps the team in the game, but with 4 seconds to go, they're going to have to attack and attack quickly. Last opportunity. It's into the centre. Will it drop? It will drop. And it's going to be Thanatos who take the series.
It's like that one small moment is all that these two teams will remember. A missed clearance. You just have to either put it into the corner or send it long, and it's much easier just putting it into the corner. Try to be fancy when arguably the basics is what are required there in Tom. I think that arguably the Warlocks lost it more than Thanos has won it, but again, an ugly series and it has to be a winner.
Well, sometimes you do just get those series that are ugly. It's don't you? As you get it in football as well, don't you? Or any sort of sport really, where you just have those scrappy, awkward games, and in the end there has to be a winner. And well, unfortunately, Warlocks not getting the better of the two sides today, but a very difficult challenge ahead of Thanatos awaits. They can't celebrate too much, as in just 20 minutes time they've got to play Bladesmiths in what will be a very difficult game for them, if this one wasn't already difficult.
That's certainly true, but what will be the question really moving forward from these moments, especially for the likes of Thanos, though, is what they can do when the playoffs eventually gets there and how things develop. But again, the entire playoffs isn't sorted. We don't know the full set and scales of it, Tom. But before we even throw to the break itself here, I think the Warlock side will probably be disappointed that's how it ended though too.
Absolutely, and it's 9 weeks of Rocket League, and probably even more. They've obviously had a couple of weeks break as they wait for these play-ins to start. But 9 weeks of Rocket League, you played 72 games in the regular season. Never mind the 150 games in the last 2 seasons of ranks that you have to play, if that number is about right. So it's a lot of work to get into this league. It's a lot of work to keep at the high level in this league. And when your season ends so cruelly, it can be very frustrating. But unfortunately, there has to be a loser in this round one of play-ins. There has to be a loser throughout the play-ins. And it is Warlock on this occasion.
Certainly so, but there is unfortunately no losers in terms of the viewers tonight. There is 2 more cities still left here on the RSC, but for that to occur, we do unfortunately have to say au revoir, and we'll see you after this break.
Standing in the cold, cold rain, I don't even feel the pain. Anything to step away, I know we could both do better. Wish you would've left me here, now I'm just controlled by fear. What's the point in our reflection, if you never look in the mirror? Counting the days until you're gone, waiting for us to carry on. Oh, I'm running, what am I running from? Time's going by, but where's the time going? I tried to give you everything, you took it all and took it for granted. If you're still falling out of love, maybe it's 'cause it's not enough. Setting fire to my brain, wondering how I'm to blame. You're the one who doesn't dream, so why are you always sleeping? I remember when you said you're afraid of what's ahead. What happened to ride or die? I asked and you just start crying. How are you acting so surprised? Haven't you seen it in my eyes? Oh, I'm running, what am I running from? Time's going by, but where's the time going? I tried to give you everything. You took it all and took it for granted. If you're still falling out of love, maybe it's 'cause I'm not enough. Maybe it's not enough. Baby, I don't wanna lose you after all that we've been through. If you could change my mind, I would do it in a heartbeat. That's if you really love me. I would do it in a heartbeat. That's if you really love me. I would do it in a heartbeat. That's if you really love me. search for me, cause I'm going AWOL. In my heart there's a hole, yeah. And in my head there's a demon, I can't take control. I took too much, put myself in a room, just my six and myself, yeah. It's getting hard and I think I'm doomed, cause everyone left, cause everyone left, cause everyone left, cause everyone left, cause everyone left. Don't search for me, cause I'm going AWOL. In my heart there's a hole, yeah. And in my head there's a demon, I can't take control. I took too much, put myself in the room, just my six and myself, yeah. It's getting hard and I think I'm doomed, cause everyone left.
And just like that, a game done on the books itself, and the ink has just slowly dried on the parchment. The problem is there is still more to be written in this current season. Season 10, the Elite Play-On still working out who that is going to be, and Thanos is looking to do maybe sometimes the unthinkable, and that is a run through the play-in section. But we have dispatched Tom. And already, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing wonderfully, and I'm excited to join these elite playoffs. You talk about that lower bracket run. Now, I was casting the rival play-ins last week, and that happened twice, where the team that advanced from that first stage in the lower bracket actually made it all the way through into those playoff spots. But whether that will happen again tonight, that remains to be seen.
Fair point to say, and we just have our bracket on our screens as we have basically confirmed, if you are just tuning in, Thanos has won that. But it's interesting that you brought that. Just literally, funny enough, the likes of Carbo near enough had that opportunity, failed to actually do it, mind you, yesterday. And again, they were one game away. It was a sloppy game 5 for a portion as well too. So it doesn't matter what tier we're into here, it's just a moment of can it be done? And so far, we really haven't seen the team to take it to the next step, not sort of getting to the playoffs. I want to actually see a team going to the actual sort of top 3 side of the business end.
Yeah, well, I think we can start to tee up our next game. And as we know, Thanatos beating Warlocks to make it here, but waiting for them the whole time has been Bladesmiths. Now, the way that I'm going to set this up is, on paper, it is a very one-sided affair. Bladesmiths winning 45 games and losing 27 throughout league play, compared to Thanatos, who won 35, lost 37, both playing in the Glassies Conference. Bladesmiths finishing in 4th, Thanatos finishing in 6th. And it was very split down the middle, was the Glassies Conference in the Elite Division. It seems like the top teams were just a cut above those that finished in the lower half.
Well, certainly so. When we spoke, Tom and I, about the potential talk about, he asked for predictions. I'm not normally a fan of doing that, for the simple fact is, especially in the conference, is there a weaker side or a stronger side? And it's also maybe an unfair reflection on the team's quality, because they have earned the right to be here. They've got the job. It's just, can they get over the line? But with that being said, Tom, there is sort of the player side of that statistics that can give us an indicating mark as well. And to be for Forge as a franchise, as we see on our screen so far, all near enough knocking on the 60s, bar one player, basically, by the looks of it, has played only the sub games only, based on the lobby as well too. It is the full roster. It should be evident. It should be clear. A dominating series is going to be in front of our side. It's just the question is, are we going to see that? And to some extent, I'm hoping to see a smashing tonight.
Yeah, and that is the dynamic as well. Like in league play, it's all about consistency and longevity throughout the 7 or 8 weeks of league play that there is. I think it's even 9. I might be getting my maths modelled up there. But my point is that you can be consistent throughout season, but when it comes down to that one night, that one series, maximum 5 games, the pressure is really on. And we have seen teams in lower divisions crumble under that pressure, just nervous performances, not looking themselves at all. And despite perhaps maybe being the stronger team on paper, they have actually ended up losing to, quote, weaker opposition. So it really is that play-ins format that will be decisive here to see if the stronger team, objectively, will be the one to come out on top.
Well, certainly so, and with that being the case, one best of 5, arguably, to get yourself in that position. I'm sure the players are eager enough to get started, such as ourselves here. The only thing I'm just somewhat thrown into this sort of spanner in terms of before we have our major thoughts is, does the likes of Thanos coming in, effectively having the series, they're warmed up in the competition-wise, has Bladesmith got that edge, at least in the opening game, to dictate the pace? We will find out just shortly here.
Yeah, that is a very good comment to make. Thanatos obviously warmed up, and they are going to get the first goal here. Only took them 6 seconds, coming off the win in that previous series. And Bladesmiths a little bit cold to start things off here. Kingsman is just going to get one past the defense, which was essentially non-existent, so not the way that Bladesmiths would have wanted to start this game, but Thanatos picking up where they left off.
Nice to see a bit of vigour on the attacking lines here. It's more the defensive capabilities I'm worried about, as that ball's been popped right through Wolfie, who's been afraid of who might be commentating this match, and unfortunately his worst nightmares has came true. It's myself and Juicy just popped that one wide. No teammates to follow through here, so after the potential argument of being warmed up, still a few potential issues that need settled out here.
Sending one long, but not up. Maybe looking for a flip reset, just gets the air dribble touch and tries for the dunk, but wasn't quite in front of the goal to send it home. Kingsman now with a long booming clear. Juice, not enough boosting. Immediately beaten to it by Nor, who was consistently cutting out the ball in the midfield. It's on the backboard, but it's not really going to invite any pressure from Thanatos for the time being. Solo with a flick, and it's blocked by Kingsman. Probably the best opportunity so far for Bladesmiths, but not going to result in a goal.
You see, nice touch and moves it across here. So the question, will Wolfie find that goal, or one of his two fellow teammates here? That's going to be the hovering question mark here, as that ball is just prolonged far too long, and that's a woeful bit of defence there. Should have done much better.
I wonder there if the smoke screen was blinding him. I think that, yeah, the demo came after the shot, but the shot was powerful enough. 107 kph from the midfield, that not quite able to react in time was Satu there. And doubling their lead now are Thanatos, and we haven't even hit half distance yet. They might get a third here off the kickoff. It's off the crossbar. Bondab with a follow-up shot, but no real venom behind it. Not going to trouble the defense at all. And now at the other end, we see Bladesmiths coming forward, but immediately forced back onto defense. Midfield control right now is definitely in the hands of Thanatos, and it does not look like they're going to be giving that up anytime soon.
So as that one's just pitched up quite nicely, but the game itself has a sort of simmered. We've seen moments of a quick 2-0, quick pop here and there as Juicy just lobs that one downfield. It's nice to see, poised, ready. And that there from the backboard's a bit of a loose one, and frankly, I think it would be fair to say, and maybe you might disagree with me on this, I would just like to see the game to calm down a bit. It's too rushed for the sake of what they're trying to do here.
Yeah, potentially they just felt a little bit complacent. I mean, the way I teed this game up, I thought we would be seeing absolute domination from Bladesmiths, but it's the complete opposite right now. Maybe Bladesmiths just expecting Thanatos to roll over, but they're doing the exact opposite, really taking the game to them. And Bladesmiths are going to have to get inventive here. They're going to have to start maybe going for some demos, maybe just trying to match the pace of Thanatos, who look very warmed up at the moment. It could just take game one for them to find their stride and find their rhythm, and then we might see what their true potential really looks like in this series.
Will it be unleashed here? Quick shot. It was inviting, but unfortunately near side and post and reject. It will be take two. And unfortunately, goal number 2 goes the awry here. Now back to the third one. Followed up quite nicely, but credit to the defence here. Thought Thanos wasn't playing particularly well in that department. That one, job done.
Still lingering in the corner, though, for Bladesmiths, as it's probably the longest period of sustained pressure that they've had all series. Finally, a clear coming through, but control of that mid-boost should ensure they stay on offense for a bit, and that demo going to exacerbate that as well. But Bondab has managed to work it upfield, and Juice almost getting a shot into an open net. Bladesmith definitely thought they had the offense going for them there. Is that? No way. That was a ridiculous shot from the midfield, but it's not going to go in despite the follow-up shot as well. Bladesmiths, they're starting to ask questions of the defense now, but doesn't seem they're going to find any answers soon, as right back at the other end, Bondab is going to make it 3, and I think with that, put game 1 to bed.
I agree with you. Pretty much at this point in time, we're just basically running the clock down. The Blacksmiths themselves, you just sort of sat there and thought, all right, let's just get the first few seconds over us. That was not the case. Within less than 10 seconds, 6 seconds, in fact, for the goal to occur. And since then, they never stabilised. They never got themselves back into the game here, and they could have easily conceded the 4th. Arguably, we could say 5 and 6 if the chances were to count into their favour. And just like that, we've already written them off in game 1.
I haven't written them off yet. I mean, game 1 has looked shoddy at best, really. They've managed to get a consolation goal here, but I still kind of rely on the stats. You know, you don't win 45 games out of 72 in a season without playing at your optimum. And it doesn't seem like they've quite found that yet. I mean, same conference as Thanatos, and Thanatos won 10 games less. That is 2.5 series. So I still have the belief that Bladesmiths can really come up to match Thanatos here. Whether they can overcome them, though, if Thanatos continue to play this well that's a completely different question.
Fair enough. We'll leave that one on the ice right now while we're trying to maybe simmer and maybe quench that sort of particular heat that could be coming from that question, as it will be roughly and should be ending 3-1 as they're sacking him heads and approach here. I wouldn't be bold in suggesting maybe a player swap here for Blacksmiths so soon, but this is meant to be their main roster. And I'll be even a bit more harsher than you were. That was a woeful performance, and one player has already left the lobby. I think that might be the right decision to change out here.
Yeah, we might see their 4th player in Menorca coming in. Satu maybe not having the best game, maybe just going for a car change. You know, you got to love a bit of a placebo, going for a slightly different design on the Octane maybe. But we'll have to see. Nobody joining the lobby just yet. But the sub could shift the dynamic, potentially. I don't know what Menorca might bring to the team, although it is going to be Satu. I think that is just a car change, but could be into a Dominus or a Fennec. Anything that kind of just gives you a mental edge, playing with your favorite card design, maybe. It's all placebo at the end of the day, but got to be comfortable.
Are you a believer of the placebo effect?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. If I'm playing bad, I change my card design straight away. Always.
Anything in particular, or just
change.
Just
get rid of it. Get rid of it. If you're losing, get rid of it.
Well, simply as that, get rid of it if it's not working. Well, game 2, maybe just see the trash be taken out somewhat, or will it be put on fire and the dumpster will still continue with the house panicking that it might spread to the front room as the kickoff has occurred? And personally, I would just change from Octane to Batmobile, but other than that, I think that might just throw people off not doing the placebo.
Yeah, we saw a very nice opening little attack there for Bladesmith, going for more aggressive plays, taking out the final defender, clearly feeling the defense is just that little bit too strong for Thanatos at the moment, and basically just trying to punch a hole through it. Didn't result in a goal, but good to see that they have a tactic going forward, as this one could result in a goal from Bondab. Defense just could not deal with that little lofted ball over the top from Juice. Wolfie not getting the clear. Satu just running around in circles. And another opening goal scored again by Thanatos.
Must be nice being a toddler running around with a hula hoop. That was exactly what the defence was doing there. No sense, no plan. And right now this is maybe right down the other side here for Kingsman, but the gain's taken away here. I think it'd be fair to say the communication lacking somewhat on both ends from the opening, and which was strange because Thanos, it seemed to be in game 1, had that sorted out.
Yeah. Haven't started off game 2 in the best way, although a rare mistake on defense from Thanatos. This one could be an easy one for Satu to score, but it's just onto the backboard. Kingsman with an important block. Satu having to retreat for boost. Wolfie going to pop this one up, take it over the top of one. He's got the control, goes for the air dribble bump and gets it. He's been bumped straight back into the ball. It's now Nor up, looking for maybe a flip reset, but the touch not going to trouble the defense at all. It just seems at the moment Bladesmiths are opting to go one by one, going for those solo plays, and they're just not supporting each other, and it's really not enough to get through the defense of Thanatos at the moment, who look so well coordinated.
Nice to see that is the case here. There's a cheap goal moves on in. I hate to say it, that was an undeserved goal. There was at least pressure to it, but the defence has crumbled right in front of it. It was a simple 50 required. Bar that, game back on.
Yeah, that is a costly error there from Juice, allowing Bladesmiths to tie up the game here. And, I mean, Bladesmiths had a consolation goal in the series, but in the previous game, sorry, but that feels like their first real competitive goal. And it is an important one because it's going to bring things back to even Stevens here. They've got to start working together, I feel. It is just mechanical solo play after mechanical solo play, and it's not working. That is the long and short of it. It is just not working for them. The defense is more than well equipped to deal with it for Thanatos. Maybe just looking for some cherry-picked passes like that could be the way forward. But right now, as we tick down to about halfway gone, I feel like in this one now, it's anyone's game.
We know wiser to the potential winner there, but reasonable demo. Second one, so door open up. And why was that a not shot taken earlier? It must have been a poor first touch. And that presents us a second chance, mind you, up the defence of Thanos. A little bit once more questionable. And arguably, it's the same systematic problem present itself and finally broken down. And again, where has this been?
Yeah, I think it's more the defense of Thanatos beating themselves here, and it's just allowing Bladesmiths very cheap opportunities. Both of their goals here have come from defensive mistakes or just not getting the ball as far clear as they should be. Might even concede a third here off the kickoff, but Bladesmiths having to back off for boost. Juice going up for this one and hitting long, but only as far as Wolfie. No one there from Bladesmiths to follow up though, just opting to stay back in the midfield, but a 50-50 going to put them back on offense here. Wolfie not going to get to this one, nor with a very weak shot, and it's going to be blocked away by Juice. So onto the backboard, but feels backflip man, not going to get back to this one. Wolfie running out of boost, can't get the angle either. Bladesmiths starting to come alive here. They are almost going to get a third. I didn't even see Juice behind the ball there, but what a save to keep it close here.
On the second, it might not be close enough. Straight right through. You just felt that it was coming. Finally broke through here. And you know what? You were talking about statistics and everything going across. Throw it out the window. This one's a game of war nutrition.
Well, if you want to talk about even more statistics, I've just thrown up the scoreboard. Thanatos only have 3 shots in this game. Nor has 3 times that all by himself. They're currently on a total of 14 shots. So the offense for Bladesmiths in this game has just been absolutely electric. And the defense of Thanatos, they had a pretty easy job in game 1, but not this time. Bladesmiths showing why they were so successful in league play now and really taking the fight to Thanatos.
Maybe attack straight down, but you talk about presenting the opportunities when it comes right across, and frankly, when you have one player on 9 shots alone, you're going to at least score at least one. Frankly, 3 is just ideal for them. 14 at that point in time, and easily more adding on here. I'm going to be bold as you are and call game 2 done and dusted. Will be tied happily at 1-1 in the series because frankly, there is no comeback on the cards here. And rightly deserved here to be in this position here.
Yeah, I think the difference here is Thanatos just had free reign over the midfield in game 1. There was just no real presence from Bladesmiths, but game 2 couldn't be more of the opposite. Bladesmiths absolutely destroying their opposition. Only scoring 3, but it could have been so many more. Nor with 9, perhaps even 10 shots to finish this game. Absolutely just insane on offense. A powerhouse. 11. It was 11 shots for Nor. I mean, the only criticism you could have of that is the shooting consistency wasn't there. But my word, to have that many opportunities on offense, that's a real positives that Bladesmiths can take from this.
Certainly so, and the fact that you can maybe slightly argue as well the fact Thanos' save counter is almost equal, if not better, than the amount of shots even presented. So obviously reasonably on target, brought out and forced a bit of pressure. We saw that twice with the 3-4 attacks of consistent pressure, resulting in those 2 goals. Mind you, Thanos didn't play bad for about 60 seconds. It's just they forgot to play after this whole 60 seconds.
Yeah, it wasn't quite the game 1 performance from Thanatos, but I feel like they beat themselves on defense a bit. I mean, they clearly saved the majority of the shots that Bladesmiths threw at them, but the goals that went through were defensive misplays, whether that was just rotations breaking down, miscommunications, or just being starved on boost maybe. That was where the opportunities for Bladesmiths came, and that was a result of their absolutely suffocating offense. So if Bladesmiths keep this up, and I feel like we haven't even quite seen their full potential yet, I think that they can really start to build some momentum towards winning this series. As for Thanatos, if they can find their game 1 rhythm again, they've got a real chance. But if not, then I think we're going to see a very pronounced pendulum swing here.
It would be fair to say there's a lot of if, maybe, buts, possibilities, ands, ors, and maybe ahas in between that. I think that justifies this series quite nicely.
Well, game 1, starting off with some very fiery exchanges. It's just been ping-ponged back and forth down the field. We'd have an opportunity at both ends so far. Now, hanging about in the midfield, Bondab looking for that 50 with the pre-flip and gets it, but Wolfie, it's a lovely touch all the way into the corner. So now with Juice, it's a 1v1 against Satu, who might have gone too far to the far post and had to scramble at the near post to save it. Apparently Thanatos still on offense with Bondab, but doesn't have any boost, and finally the attack dies down a little bit, and a double commit in the corner, you would say, is probably going to launch a counter-attack for Bladesmiths here.
So yes, it's probably a very stuttering, but a counter-attack nonetheless has unfolded itself, and backwards it shall go. Wolfie, low to somewhat cropped himself into the 3rd position, needed to do at that moment. That's left wonderful, and frankly, I'm just annoyed here. Where was the second man? Where was the idea of continuing the play? Doesn't exist. I would say at this current juncture in time, Thanos is looking to go home already.
Well, it is 0-0, thankfully for them. In game 1 and game 2, they were the team to score first. See if they can keep that up here as Juice with a double tap. Kingsman coming in a bit prematurely. Bondab is going to get the goal, though. I thought that one was going to go begging. Bondab as that 3rd man. Lovely touch there to get past Satu. Bondab jumping a bit early, but still able to turn the ball on target. And for the 3rd successive game, Thanatos have scored first here, but Bladesmiths were able to come back, turn the tide, and be victorious in game 2. They're going to have to do it again here in game 3.
So realistically, what we're saying is if the same team scores twice after this opening goal here, we already know the winner. Simple, really.
Yep, really is.
Yeah.
Kingsman going to reach that one. Satu tips it up high towards Wolfie, looking for the touchdown and gets it. A crucial save from Bondab to deny an equalising goal. Nor now didn't really get the power on the shot, but is going to get a block here. Wolfie in control, gets it over the top of Bondab, but can't get it past Kingsman. Satu with the shot towards the top corner. Bondab again on the defensive line, making sure that his team are firmly in front. Halfway gone and Thanatos still in front.
Nice to see that ball at least lurking around here. Again, the constant pressure, over 14 shots at one point, easily near enough rattling up to 20. Not, however, being capitalised this time around. We've only seen 4. Just shows you what Thanos is able to do when they put their heads together, as that one rattles near side from the keeper's perspective. And once more here, the only issue I have here for Blacksmith, they're quite literally setting these opportunities far too close to the posts.
Yeah, they are. They haven't been able to quite find the mark despite having about 30 seconds there of offensive pressure. Now forced back onto their defensive line here. I think a second one for Thanatos, and we could start to call this game. Bladesmiths haven't quite had the offensive prowess that we saw in the previous game. Only 6 shots put up this time. Nor hasn't even had a single one compared to the 11 he had previously. So I think that is just a big finger pointing at where Bladesmiths are lacking at the moment, and it is that offensive pressure from Nor that we saw just on display in Game 2.
Hopefully he'll find a bit of form here as his teammates rightly and so moving into the positions, and frankly there's Nor back into it from his defensive. Wolfie just needs to drop it down, so all three getting involved, but again it's gone higher and projected even wider to where they were hoping the target eventually would be. His juice now. Opportunity straight down. Falma's goal present. No. Big stop required. Big stop given. Now can they get the ball downfield?
Well, I thought it was going to result in an own goal. It was a brilliant save from Wolfie, but hit it into his own crossbar, and Satu just coming in a little bit hot there. Almost putting it into his own net. That would have been disastrous for Bladesmiths, as a demo on the back line. Really trying to find that equalising goal to take us to an overtime here in Game 3 would be the first one in the series. Some misses on the back line, but Kingsman able to get the clear. It's just going to be hit it away now. A possession controlling game. Wolfie caught in possession there in the corner. Don't think he got that 100 boost either. Juice puts one on target. Bladesmiths are going to have to take it end to end here as we tick down 2 000s. Ondab in the corner, not going to get the mid boost, but does get the ball down. Nor going to have to keep it up, but it is Thanatos who fire back emphatically with a win in Game 3.
The series that I've got more and more less information as this went forward here. Frankly, we have sat through 15 minutes plus of gameplay. We have regressed in terms of the scoreline. We have regressed once more on the shots. But has the quality dipped? I would actually argue it's slightly improved, which is the somewhat the shocking side of the factor. What has changed? I honestly don't know.
I think I can tell you what's changed from Game 2 to Game 3, and that is that Nor was quiet. Nor had a ridiculous MVP performance last game, and I don't want to use the word carried because Bladesmiths as a team looked great. I would say led his team to a resounding victory in Game 2, and we just didn't see it in Game 3. He didn't have the presence on the field that he did in Game 2. If they can find that again and they can start linking him up and putting them on a plate for him, then I guarantee that Bladesmiths will start to sail away with the series. But right now, Thanatos are on match point. Maybe Bladesmiths starting to feel the pressure a bit, and it could be disastrous for them.
Well, certainly so, and arguably, I think there's an element somewhat going in as Thanos was probably the better prepared side, but they even touch on the pack of that we looked at the Bladesmiths themselves, and you just talked about Nor, what he's capable of, that MVP quality. There's got to be an argument. You know, one of your teammates has just gone off the boil. Somebody else has to step up, if not the whole team. It cannot be a one-man carry to get yourselves into the playoffs.
No, you're absolutely right. Got to make sure that they're playing as a team. Thanatos have had a couple of golden opportunities already, though, that have gone begging. And they frighten the defense of Bladesmiths. Because past 3 games, it's been Thanatos getting the opening goal, and only on 1 out of 3 of those occasions have Bladesmiths been able to come back and take victory. It took them a lot longer in the previous game to score, the Thanatos. Let's see if the trend continues here as Kingsman in the corner with no boost, but going to get it over Satu, and Nor with a big power clear. Problem is, just giving away possessions. We saw Satu on the left-hand side there, and it was a pretty easy pass for Nor to make, but just opting to boom the ball downfield, and the offense fizzling out as quickly as it started.
So, and Satsu there with the original decent potential chance, cuts in 2. It's a lot of this sort of game where I think we might just see where the pressure's actually got to them there. And you talk about that possessional side of the game. Yes, I would like to see more control of it, but we haven't actually seen anybody just hold on to the ball, drive down the middle of the field and just try to pop it or force fit it. There's been no true variation of the gameplay either.
No, it is just very hit and hope. We haven't seen much ground play. We haven't seen much control as Juice with a lovely save there, getting it all the way downfield as well. Bondab looking for the shot, but couldn't wrap his car around it to generate the power. Kingsman keeping it alive in the corner and trying to drop one down, but Satu there to cover it. Juice off the sidewall. Going to be cleared again by Nor, but look at that. He's just given possession straight away again, and Kingsman on that left-hand wall. Beautiful infield pass. Is it going to come back to hurt them? Not quite finding a teammate in the midfield, but I think that is the biggest mistake that Bladesmiths are falling foul of at the moment, which is that they're just not quite working together as a team. Finally, an infield pass coming through, but we just need to see more team plays, more chemistry, more communication, and I think in that Bladesmiths would start to have some more success.
Hopefully we'll see something resulting in terms of that actually being output in terms of the performance here, because right now it's just missing in key moments. Do you want this one, or shall we leave it to the gravestone?
I mean, that double commit is criminal, really. Satu could clearly see the player in front, but just dives across the face of goal and leaves a wide open net. It's a painful one to concede, but Bladesmith, it kind of sums up their defense for the most part. Really just disjointed and not working well as a unit, as we're seeing uncharacteristic misses come out as well. Bondab is going to get a second. Bladesmiths are starting to fall apart at the seams. Danny, is this the beginning of the end?
Yes.
Do you want to elaborate on that?
No.
Okay. It's 2-0. Is it going to be 3? Oh, my word. The kickoff. Wolfie with the miss. Kingsman. Oh, Wolfie actually manages to get back to it. I thought we were going to see a third one go in there. That really would be adding insult to injury. Kingsman makes the save off the post. Nor into the top left-hand corner. They've got him back within 1. Going to have a grandstand finish here to game 4. I wouldn't count Bladesmiths out just yet. See if their performance can pick up in this remaining 1 minute and 42 seconds.
You're more hopeful. I'm certainly not. Haven't seen enough to even warrant it in my personal opinion, but I've been wrong arguably most of tonight anyway, so if there is going to be a moment, it will be surely now, as that one infield and across here in Juice. He's done well enough just to force the problem. Kingsman should just be passing this one across. He attempts to, but again, first touch too powerful. Needs to be gentle, needs to realise he doesn't have to do everything so harsh.
Wait a minute. Where's the defense gone? Where on earth was the defense? There was just a 50-50 in the midfield and there's nobody back. It's 3-1. That is the openest net that I've seen all series. Bladesmith, what are you doing?
If you don't mind, I'm going to go even probably harder than that. I think Bladesmith in Season 10 is arguably the worst team I've seen in the playoffs or play-ins as a whole. How they've got here, I do not know.
Well, there's a minute left for them to try and keep this series alive. Try and keep their play-ins hopes alive as well. Had such a good season league play-wise. 45 wins, that's more than any other team that I've casted in any division in the play-ins. So, 4th place with 45 wins. It must have been an absolutely stacked division. Now with 30 seconds left on the clock and trailing 2 goals, they just do not look like scoring. I think at this point they are down and out, realizing they've been beat. Bondab is not going to put in a 4th. That really would have put the game to bed, but 20 seconds left. I think it is all but over. Thanatos having to play that first round in the lower bracket, but ultimately they are advancing to the playoffs here. Bladesmiths were the far better team on paper, but but they have been beaten emphatically here. Are going to get a goal back. There's 2 seconds left. Am I going to be forced to retract all of my closing speech for Thanatos winning this series, or are we going to get the most ridiculous of comebacks here?
No. And there's no need to apologise. Just blame Thanos.
Yep, okay, you were right. You're right. What a win, though. Thanatos. Oh my god, Juice in chat. You talk too much. Wow. Clearly this victory is personal. Man.
But I hate to be blunt as well, Thanos. You're not good enough to trash talk. Bad in the first series I've casted you with, and you weren't good enough against Bladesmiths. Pick it up for the playoffs. I'm fed up with poor quality.
Well, that's a statement, but GG's. Satu dropping a good luck in playoffs. But yeah, they do advance to the playoffs now, where I believe... I don't actually know who they're going to play. That's awful, isn't it? I don't have an updated version of the bracket. Was it Anarchy or Embry or Carvo that went through?
Does it matter to lose anyway?
Okay.
Yeah. We'll just leave it there, surely.
Yeah, I think we will. We'll leave it there. That was our second series of the night. But our third series coming up is going to be one in the upper bracket, where we have Fearless Bravo going up against Vanguards, 2 teams that were right at the top end of their respective divisions. Daniel will be casting that one with Psycho. That's all from me for round 2, but round 3 will be coming up shortly, so don't go anywhere.
Welcome to reality, there's no way back.
Swipe left, someone said something stupid. Swipe right, now I'm watching what you did. If I were down, now I'm at a disadvantage. But I think that it's worth it. I put my headphones on, I play my favorite song. I go to sleep and try again. Mama used to try and tell me no man is an island, but I think I feel like drifting away. Mama used to say tomorrow never comes, so make the most, but I think I am done with today. Boss says, man, you gotta make an effort. Feel like all I do on earth is just say yes, sir. And when I tell people how they make me feel, they treat me like a leper. I put my headphones on, I play my favorite song. I go to sleep and try again. Mama used to try and tell me no man is an island, but I think I feel like drifting away. Mama used to say tomorrow never comes, so make the most, but I think I am done with today.
I was so sure of our love. I never thought of any reason, a doubt about us. And now I'm right back at the start. Halfway through a bottle, baby, and nothing to know. I thought that I could keep it low. Take it easy, take it slow. We ended up just like before, so take it easy, take it easy. I thought that I could keep it low. Take it easy, take it slow. We ended up just like before, so take it easy. And you know how to forget all the wrongs and every reason why we've changed. And there's a storm inside my head. It's getting me in trouble, baby, and I can't break away. I thought that I could keep it low. Take it easy, take it slow. We ended up just like before, so take it easy, take it easy. I thought that I could keep it low. Take it easy, take it slow. We ended up just like before, so take it easy.
something on my mind and it keeps hurting me. You've been treating me like I have been your enemy. You are something I don't want to have. A million problems inside of my head. This is something I cannot forget. Another one. You're a needle in my. No, I didn't see the signs, cause you kept hiding it. Now slowly every part of me is shivering. I kept denying all the pain and didn't want to hurt again. Now slowly I began to see the real you. You are something I don't want to have. A million problems inside of my head. This is something I cannot forget. Another one. You're a needle in my. You are something I don't want to have. A million problems inside of my head. This is something I cannot forget. Another one. You're a needle in my heart. You are something I don't want to have. A million problems inside of my head. This is something I cannot forget. Another one. You're a needle in my heart. It's so hard to open my eyes. I'm blind to the light from the sky. I'm dealing with things I can't write. And all of you know it's been no easy road. But I keep working harder, going harder just to prove something. Burning out, I can't do shit for weeks. Guess I proved nothing. Everybody wants my work for free. I know you have the money, things are looking different. I'm not putting up with you, not anymore. And I know you think you still can take advantage. And you always took my humbleness for granted. But I know my worth, you can't take that away from me. And I know you think you still can take advantage. But it hasn't worked out like you fucking planned it. 'Cause I know my worth, you can't take that away from me. Lost myself, now I'm fully disguised. My heart got bruised up, so I put it on ice. Been told that I wouldn't make it in this life, but now all of you see there's so much room for me. And I know you think you still can take advantage. And you always took my humbleness for granted. But I know my worth, you can't take that away from me. And I know you think you still can take advantage. But it hasn't worked out like you fucking planned it. 'Cause I know my worth, you can't take that away from me. Let's go bounce.
Welcome to the RSC. It is Season 10, the Elite Play-ins. Unfortunately for some, it is the last chance, but it is only 6 to 8 players that may have that potential honour to grab the remaining playoff spot. But it does mean we also had a change in the commentary booth as well too. 2 has went through the revolting door and somehow I've remained glued to the chair. Psycho, welcome to the hot seat.
Thank you very much, Danny. It's a pleasure to be here, and the teams on display in the series coming up are not ones that you would have seen today or in the weeks prior. Fearless Bravo and Vanguards, 2 teams which we know minimal bits about given their past history, apart from the statistics they have.
Well, that's true, but we might as well see the bracket itself overall based on what we've seen the last 2 days as well, Psycho, as just a brief recap as well. Temple and, of course, the Cult 3-0 earlier, and then we are with that last top match on the rest of the screen, but we might as well briefly recap. Embry and Carbo, they did battle, but none of them could meet, unfortunately, Archeon himself, who we had a bit of fun with earlier. The rest of it left Thanos doing the run itself to making it through, but if you did not catch it, in my opinion, whether rightly or wrongly, I'll let everybody debate that, whether on Discord, Twitter, or whatever socials you are, the worst play-in or playoff match of Season 10. That's my opinion. I think Thanos will not be happy with their performance, and Bladesmith arguably even worse.
Well, it might be strong words, but they're also going to have stronger opposition when it comes to moving forwards, as we've seen some strong level of competition so far, especially the likes of Archeon, who we mentioned just briefly a second ago, getting out of the wheelchair and putting on a shift in his series against Carbo. But of course, Temple and Megamin Colt, which I believe was on yesterday, an absolute outright domination for Temple and really not showing their opponents Megamin Colt into the series whatsoever. But moving forward today, Danny, we do have our upper round one, Fearless Bravo versus Vanguard.
Certainly, so we may as well take the stats of the team, how they have all presented themselves so far. Frankly, the statistics would suggest that it's reasonably poised. We talked about earlier on the day what could be happening, but with that being the case, I'm not a believer of statistics, especially in a match like this, Psycho. Absolutely mean nothing, and both times when it's been brought up, it's been wrong both times.
Absolutely, and you know what? Stats don't matter when it comes to the massive scale events where there's a lot to play for these two teams, and I'm sure for both of them this is the biggest competition that they have going, so of course it's going to be the most stressful one to play in. But nonetheless, the second seed in Fearless Bravo clearly taking the pick on stats with 52 wins to their name against Vanguard's measly 37 in comparison.
Well, with that too as well, the statistics throughout as well, the Vanguard side both reasonably statistically well, but it's the Javier on the other side that seems to be weighing it down. Bravo looks like somewhat the favourites if you look from that side of the element, but again, Psycho, statistics are only one portion of the story. We talk about maybe form going into these matches. We talk about how well potential form or scrims or even the previous series competition. This really is the battle of the unknown.
Absolutely, and speaking of recent form, Fearless Bravo winning 4 out of their 5 recent matchups and Vanguard's only taking 2 of their own. So it really is a case of all statistics pointing in favour of Fearless Bravo. But once again, at the end of the day, it doesn't mean too much when you have two teams with a lot to play for and they're put together on a stream match such as we have today. A very, very different environment to the traditional league play. And also it's quite difficult to be doing these cross-conference comparisons because ultimately the strengths of the teams on each are only shown towards the tail end of the competition.
Well, certainly so, as our competitors are eager to get this started. So am I too. I'm looking to be impressed. I'm looking for something more. Will we get it in the last of the play-ins of the Elite? Let's find out.
Let's find out indeed, as we are underway in the first game of this best of 5 series between Fearless Bravo and Vanguard. And as we've just been through, statistics pointing in favour of Fearless Bravo. Will it translate on the day? That is the question to be answered. And Danny, you said yourself twice today alone, the answer has proved to be no.
No, no. Will it be 3 no's striking? Well, it usually always comes in sets like that, but will the triad appeared here as, well, Pesky's done well. Nice little pumping around as well too, and do you know what? There's going to be a small smile on my face, Seiko, and that's because Jessica is on to the pitch as well too. And let's just say I played a few private 6-mans with him, and he's always a treat, whether against or the forward. I'll let everybody read out in between the lines what I mean by that statement.
Well, we've singled out the player on the field to be heavily criticised for the rest of the series. Poor Jessica, rest in peace. Your hopes and dreams. There's Tide here, toying with the defense, trying to see if any cracks can emerge. And I know it's only a minute deep into this game number 1 of this 5-game length series. But ultimately at the moment, Fearless Bravo not faring too well, it has to be said. Vanguard's dominating the possession game for the time being, albeit with no opportunities made.
I love how the black mark, as it might be referred to, has been etched onto it. I may as well give you a little bit more information on as well. A fellow Irishman too, so it might be more sympathetic to a fellow countryman, who knows, but he'll have to play well enough to even gain that support as a demo comes out in the middle of the field in 2 minutes. I must say, Seiko, I'm much more happier with this game. Fair pace, no major mistakes. Let this one continue.
You're absolutely right in saying that. No mistakes. And for me, an extremely refreshing sight to see. Yesterday's games were plagued by mistakes, and especially with the teams that really had a lot more to give. And in this particular matchup, we're seeing two squads who have got their basics down to a T. Their positioning and their support structures seem to be all safe and sound for the time being.
Apparently so, as Jessica moves in with a shot, and Jez will not be happy with the result here. Popped, and that's on our pesky little bird there. Frankly moves into the play. Dem, one touch and double commit. Not going to be costly so far, and the black mark has struck. He's made a big blunder and a big save on the other end just to make sure.
And Jessica now can only touch it as far as the opposition lurking in the centre for a shot towards the top of the net, as Mamba striking down on Dem9, who's able to clear it forwards to a teammate. Position smartly upfield to deliver a redirect forwards. The keeper sleeping on this occasion, but nonetheless a well-worked finish from Fearless Bravo.
Well, I agree with you, and unfortunately Jez may not be fully to blame on that one. Arguably the whole team lineup will be roundly shunned for the first one. Will not be fully sympathetic the second time around. Will they have a goal to maybe wipe the tears of disappointment? No, so far. Phase 2, still no. And frankly, no follow-up. They're sitting a little bit more deep. We haven't seen that in the last two series, but tonight, finally, it appears. Rotations on point.
And a change of pace, perhaps, with two rosters just trying to opt for midfield control. And I must admit, I didn't catch the two previous series, but from word of mouth from the casting booth, it is evident that this is a change and in a positive direction indeed, as Fearless Bravo at the moment at the back, very well coordinated, are able to push the ball downfield as Pesky Bird trying to challenge Jessica and get something past him. And Dem9 now touches it forwards, it's loose to the opposition, and he's going to have to clamber back and get an awkward touch to his teammate.
I love how that is a particular case as well, and just to clarify that small little statement as well to the opinion that has been spread around is one that has stemmed from me. If you do have a difference of opinion, yes, we would love to hear it. However, I won't be listening to it because I don't care what you think, and Pesky won't be caring what anybody else of the defence of he's just faced, because that could have been frankly a key opportunity. And JW moves across, pops it over 1 and 2. Vital challenge there.
Vital challenge indeed, and I was wondering where that third man would be. And it just so happened that it was right tucked behind the player beaten, as Cinema has to make a touch to the side and does exactly that. Pesky Bird potentially beaten out by a player, but is able to get up in time. So the seconds well and truly ticking down, and it's been a case for Vanguards of no offense made, no opportunities made, all shunned away from their opposition.
Nothing more to add. That is game 1 over. And frankly, we can take a small moment to breathe and have a recap on this. What wasn't, mind you, the quickest of game, but arguably the one with the most poise, the most control, the most deliberate of touches. And to me, that's refreshing. And Psycho, I honestly could not care what anybody else says in the world. As long as you do the basics right, you have a fighting chance. Both sides done it well, and both sides so far, if they keep this up, deserves a win this.
And I fully agree with you, Danny, because if you have that foundation to build upon, then the rest is history. You can work out how your playstyle is going to develop through the series from there, because you're not focusing on the elements you need to be correcting. You're focusing on the elements you can improve, and whether that's your aggression, whether that's the way you're structured, it really doesn't matter at all. But both of these teams are going to be going in with a mindset that they've performed to a high standard in that first game, and it is something that hopefully we can continue to see.
Well, certainly so as well too. So far tonight as well, we've had one player leaving the lobby for the sake of a placebo, a change of car, a change of decal. I don't want excuses. I just want results, gameplay, and a performance that matched here in the play-ins for that remaining, frankly, big match for the playoffs of Elite Game 2. Will we have that finally sorted here?
Time will soon tell, Danny, as we make our way into game number 2 with JW Cinema An opening play with an air dribble, and it's tested the defense in an uncomfortable manner that they certainly might not have been expecting so early on into the first game. And Jezico, even with a touch to his own backboard, cannot stop the follow-up from Dem.
Uncomfortable? Yes. Should have been saved? Yes. An early one to concede? Filled with regret? Yes. I think they want to move on from that one, and we shall, as the attack maybe pushing forward to the net here. And Jessica just sitting there driving in a small loop, but maybe he's trying to tie his shoots and forgot which way the loop's meant to go.
As Tyder now up trying to make a dodgy read on the backboard, but Cinema once again the player to touch it to the side. He always seems to be in that position to just see it wide when is needed most, as Dem9 driving forwards back to the man in question, who's opted for a stall off the wall. Looked pretty, had absolutely no functionality, but I can appreciate it nonetheless, as my ex-freestyler brain is humming tones of joy as Cinema once again touching downfield to Pesky Bird, who strikes against Tide, and Mamba's going to bail the player out on that occasion.
I'm glad you got joy. I'm filled with disappointment with twirls and spinnies. What happens to driving and popping and flicking? I hate
The golden age,
game.
perhaps, Danny.
Golden age for you, certainly.
I remember we had a conversation on one of the previous broadcasts about what actually was the golden age of Rocket League, and I think myself and Danny slightly contrary opinions, but Fearless Bravo and Vanguards very much trying to cement their own golden age in this particular matchup, Danny.
Certainly so, but so far they might just have to settle for a copper like bronze, as that one popped right in a round here. I'll tell you this here, gold, silver, bronze, no, all what it is a lump of metal, and it's not even aluminum.
A platinum goal from Pesky Bird, it must be. It's the only metal I can think of in my head which could be awarded as an award. As JW Cinema gets a pinch forwards towards the net, Mamba standing his ground on that occasion. We saw the first goal that just loosely flopped its way in off the back of a touch to the orange team's own backboard in the early stages of this game, as Pesky Bird once again trying to test out the defense. Dem9 with it all to do is able to catch a reset, doesn't get absolutely any contact on that, and unfortunately the opportunity goes wide.
So far using the flanks, mind you, to escape their second consecutive block here, and Dem is there. Jez, he pops it. Now just to need to kick control, and that's a woeful first touch. Oh, it has to be an Irish player too, as that shot goes high as well too, so regrettably the chance has been let off the leash there. Now is second time for redemption, and why does he even bother? That was another second woeful consecutive touch.
And it looks a little awkward for Dem9. He's able to stretch up on his own backboard and see that opportunity away, as Tyder can only touch it back to his own back lines in retreat, waving the white flag. And JW Cinema had such a tight angle to work with and couldn't convert, but the opportunities are still going to keep coming thick and fast, as Cinema once again pouncing upon the net as the rotations keep coming through. And at the moment it's very much a suffocating offense for Fearless Bravo.
Popped up here. Maybe a chance to breathe, and Jez, he just throws possession away here. His last three touches in this game has not been of any real substance to get his team out of a 2-0 deficit. That just shows you what the standard of the pressure that Sega was talking about. To the backward it goes for goal number 3. It's asking for it, but should have went to Specsavers. That whole right side of the net was wide open, and he still planted it to the wall.
And that might be a shift of tone in this particular game, and I was just holding my breath, waiting to see what would happen as the words came out of my mouth. Mamba, very nice lateral pass across the field, and Jezico where he needed to be, but the keeper not tested at all because he wasn't there, Danny.
Well, it's nice to see Jez with a meaningful touch too. Amazing what this game can do when you hit the ball.
Poor Jez. But he has got his team a crucial goal in this game number 2. After game number 1 was, well, an absolute shutout for Fearless Bravo. Vanguards have finally managed to strike gold as an infield pass hits true to the centre, and Mamba once again is able there to follow a swift infield pass.
And that's a proper Irish bowl if I've ever saw one. Lump it in the box and see what happens. Oh, that takes me back as well. Good, lovely position drilled right across here. Finally, we see Jez living to a little bit of the standard that I know he can do. Certainly felt it. He thumped me in a few times in a couple of matches when I played against him as that ball ricochets the ground with a massive thud. It's now Pesky's turn, and unfortunately his turn's already over.
And tied her up quickly, but not quick enough to best JW Cinema, as Mamba can only touch it back to the offense. A shot just high of the margin, as the keepers not particularly tested, but being stretched at the moment, out of position, just with these constant commits from Fearless Bravo. And in this meantime of the blue team having some space to breathe, just trying to re-coordinate their attack. But Jezical, the player to stop it on that occasion, covering the midfield off, and straight back to the orange half we go.
That's Lisa that's been sent through down the wide flank, but yet again, nobody on to the last touch of it. Popped in the middle to JW. Jez is up, Mamba's up. It is technically a force pinched into it. That one's been wallowed up with some pace here. It's now Jezical to send it. Oh, he's put it up and high, wide enough for both to challenge. Well, here we are, OT.
And you know what? So far, an incredibly enjoyable series. Two teams with a lot to offer at the moment. And Danny, I heard the massive gasp coming from your mouth.
I know, it doesn't happen often or often.
You're right in saying that, but these are two teams who are putting on one hell of a performance at the moment, and I'm sure even by their own standards, they'd be pretty pleased with themselves, as Jezical working his way down the field, trying to best not just one, but two defenders. Certainly not going to happen from his approach, as a touch forwards is going to be denied once again by that man, Cinema, driving forwards to Dem, and the ball just resetting in the corner.
There, ready for somebody to take over. It was Pesky. Back over to JW. It's a weak challenge in terms of the clearance there. Dem is up. He gets the air dribble. It's now poised, and he's used the flip far too early. It could probably already sense the slight tutter of disappointment in Seiko's head right now, but he's remaining utterly respectful for these six players, and can you blame them? They've put on a reasonable show so far. A minute deep in this OT, and that one's been popped to the ceilings. It's a shame no Angel's going to help them out there.
Absolutely, and JW Cinema is able to get a strange touch over. Whoa! And a shot towards the near post is going to seal the deal, and Vanguards, they're going to be lighting the candles for their opponents to pay respect, because there's simply no one there to deal with it.
Not difficult, this game. It's just hard to master. That should never be a goal.
You are right in saying that. But nonetheless, the mistakes, I think they were bound to happen at some point, don't you think? After what could be considered maybe 8-9 minutes of very, very strong play all around from these teams, bar a couple mistakes. And I think ultimately the one that cost the team in blue was... Well, it wasn't actually the team in blue who conceded in the opening stages. That was going to be the point I worked with, but I'm completely wrong, as per. And you know what? These teams, bar those small mistakes, have actually looked very solid. So I think it's about time, Danny.
I'm just going to leave that potential question to be hypothetical to the viewers. And I'll throw one as well to them as well too. They had their prediction, they had their say too. And it's been arguably very much quiet on how this one game is being poised. There is a muttering from almost the silent gallery, if you want to put it that way, for Game 5. I wouldn't be opposed to that side here. But the question really is, can both of these two sides not be flustered in this pivotal Game 3?
Pivotal indeed. So we get ourselves underway, and almost early disaster for the team in orange after mistakes in the latter half of the previous game truly did cost them. As tied here with a 50-50 to the midfield. Nobody's going to be able to directly pounce on this. It's going to be a struggle in the midfield to re-establish some control as Jezical with a wonderful touchdown. It's not going to be able to feed it to an opponent. Sorry, a teammate to follow to there.
Don't know, feeding the opposition is either really nice and good home cooking or just an awful pass. Which one was it, Sego?
It was the home cooking from the opponent's point of view, that's for sure. They got a free meal out of it.
Well, hopefully it's not a dog's dinner by the end of this defence here. They've got to get this one cleanly away, and it's so far maybe up for chops here. Touchdown, fabulous pass, fabulous shot. Oh my word, a bit of a contending style play, this one.
It's a beautiful pre-flip from Tyder, who slots it midfield for Mamba. And the shot, plenty good enough, tucked away in the left-hand side of that net. And a little bit of magic from Vanguards. All the goals we've seen so far have been relatively routine. That one is certainly going to stand out.
Certainly so. It's arguably the highest quality goal so far, and Pesky with the simplest save that he will have to make in his play-in's career so far as that ball dropped into the corner. And so far, it's almost needing to sort of arm rest to get this ball across here. It was just slowly stuttering up the field. It's almost like it's Bart Archeon slippers from yesterday.
Well, Archeon slippers, certainly a cosy place to be given his performance yesterday. I think I'd quite fancy them myself on a game with stakes as high as this, as Pesky Bird launching himself off the wall, trying to find a midfielder who is currently dead. Paying our respects to Dem there as JW Cinema working down the field. Cannot best the last defender as Pesky strikes towards the upper 90, just touched away by Mamba.
Just for the record, I don't pay any respects. They've been removed off the pitch for good reason. They've either done nothing or was in the way of a potential play, as this one slowly unraveling from the left-hand side corner from this blue side. Eventually it does break to the halfway line, and Jez, he gets a touch to the corner. This one needs to be banged down to give a momentary relief for the troops, and finally they've done that. Now back on the counter.
And Dem struggling at his front post, has tripped over himself there as he needs to work round the corner to try and beat an opposing offender. And at the moment, this blue side doing a good job of pushing out of their own back lines as the Vanguard players keep steaming forwards. They're a goal ahead. They can afford to keep these lunges slow, but they just seem to be throwing themselves for the ball at the moment in a desperate affair to keep the offense flowing. Even in defense, they're throwing themselves out. And as we see Mamba working down the field now, I wonder if we'll see some of that further elaboration on the desperation as a shot towards the top-hand corner, just wide.
Just like that there, we just seen everything else in between throwing it. No coction of a wonder. So far we've been left in stitches, wondering will the seam be closed or ripped apart fully here. Zatsi, again, awful decision, just lumping the ball through. It needs to be better, has to be meaningful, and you've just got to realise, will this at least beat the player that you're in front, or will it be an actual shot on target that can force the keeper? That was neither, and frankly, will this one be any better?
Oh, it was close to being so, but Dem, no boost in the tank, and I have to agree with you, Danny. Some of the decisions being made not quite on point as Tyder round the corner touches it to Jezical, who has a lot of space to work with and a lot of time, potentially using the flipper touch early. It's a complete irrelevancy because the defender dragged up early, and the contact, Danny. What happened to the contact?
Some would say what contact, some would say it's a touch. Others in the VC and the comms, they'd be going, oh no, please don't drop there. And frankly, you can just fill in the blanks there, as the ball certainly filled in the back of the net, and now we're suddenly 2-0 up, and I would hate to say it, both sides should have had a goal at some point, but should have been at 2-0. Well, we'll let the analysts decide that. Oh wait, I think that's meant to be us.
It certainly is. So we are the guys providing the points, or supposedly, as a Touch comes through to the back line in the name of Mamba, the player to save it. There's Dem9 resetting in the corner. And with 14 seconds on the clock, you know there is absolutely no possibility for this blue team to get back into this game. Danny?
You're right. You're right. You don't need to say anything else. We can leave for the next 8 seconds and nothing else will change.
I'm tempted to brew a cup of tea, see if I can get back in time.
Put the kettle on.
I'll get things started, but I just want to see out these last couple seconds, just in case.
I've got a crossword to finish off.
You certainly do. You're about halfway through, but nonetheless, Vanguard's taking game number 3, and, well, what can be said about that particular performance? I don't think it was a starstruck performance from Fearless Bravo. I don't think they were particularly out of this competition in any way, shape, or form. They just trailed as a result of some sloppy mistakes.
I think it would be unfair to say that as a performance it was not up to scratch. I think we've seen what we had from game 1 and 2. We're just going, do you know what? This is going to be nicely poised. I think the scoreline, however, reflects the game, and yet it doesn't. It was close. It was a 2-1. And everything in that statement should be, but yet it's a paradox. It's Pandora's box. It's unfortunately we're halfway open. And the problem is Bravo has no key, and frankly Vanguard doesn't have an answer either to that. The question, and thankfully for them, they're 2-1 up with the advantage, and Bravo, well, maybe they might want to take center stage before they say their last goodbye.
And if there is a time to put on a center stage performance, Fearless Bravo certainly needing to do it right here and right now. As we get underway in game number 4, Fearless Bravo versus Vanguards. A very confusing series, it must be said. We started off with a great deal of solidity from both of these teams, and towards the tail end of almost every game after that, the mistakes seeming to work their way through. We don't know if that's a result of the nerves or just simple, you play enough and the mistakes are bound to happen at some point.
Well, you just keep asking the question in terms of knocking the ball forward and just putting awkward situations. But again, fully agree with you, and even to extenuate onto game 2, we've seen some excellent passing players to get themselves back into it at 2-2. Vanguard and Bravo, ever since there, never looked likely getting back into it.
I think you're absolutely right, and Vanguard's just off the back of those 2 infield passes have shown me that they are capable of recreating that level of offensive creativity and actually getting something going, as Tider is able to musty flick past 2 players. Jezical not able to best the last defender though, as JW Cinema working and gets a strong 50-50, but there's absolutely no chance the last man's going to send himself up for that. Surely he did, because there was absolutely nobody in orange to follow up.
Just shows you sometimes the players might have a better angle than we have from the commentary booth at times. Able to sometimes assess the play, and some doesn't even care about evaluation. And that there was nicely took the control. And you know what? He realised he had time. That's somebody playing to the standard that we had.
Absolutely, and you have to think the third man there in orange just simply didn't see Cinema coming across the screen. He was cemented on the right-hand side of the field, flying across. Looks ever so elegant, and he managed to follow up on a touch he had worked hard to achieve, so massively fair play to Cinema as Tider has bested a player who's simply not there. Crucial save from Dem9.
Oh, and it could get better right down, and JW. Oh, JW, that was on a silver platter with a silver spoon, and you wanted the butler to feed you too? Selfish! He wanted all the work done for him.
He certainly did, and the work isn't going to come free to cement the rest of this game if prior performances are something to be relied on as truth. and fact about how this team develops in the latter stages of games, as Pesky Bird up now trying to cement some control and has been dunked away by a player in orange as the ball resets to the corner, pinged back out to the midfield, but just blocked away by Pesky Bird. Dem9 now up in the corner. Can he beat Tider? Tider with an important dunk, and once again cemented in the blue half.
Walked away from that moment there. Infield this should be go, and that's a bad decision. It will be Jez to rescue the play, and once again he's not getting his aerial control just right, and he's leaving these sort of scarpered balls to be picked up in JW for the second consecutive time. He went for the high shot, hits the crossbar, and again the same result. He has to change tactic. It hasn't worked out, but the problem with that, he should have varied it much sooner.
And Pesky Bird is trying to come up with some level of creativity to get a firm foothold in this game number 4. They've worked hard for that first goal, and it was an elegant way to put one in as well. But they need more than that. They know they can't be reliant on a single goal in this game with so much time left on the clock, as Mamba strikes fourth and pushes it all the way back onto the opposite side of the field. And JW Cinema, with a lot of work to do, has managed to dunk one, but the orange defense for the time being staying strong.
Oh, hold on a second. That's a quick shot, JW, mind you, with a gentle little poke and able to generate such power from it. Whipped across the original ball. He's done well, however, after giving him a slight bit of appraisal, has been removed after that touch here. Pesky's done well. He's done very well there, but thank you. The defenders, diabolical.
You can tell there was some degree of uncertainty between those two back defenders. One at the front post, one sitting in net, neither knowing which one to commit. They were both stood there absolutely shell-shocked. They had no idea whose responsibility it was to clear up their own team's mess, as Cinema trying to put salt in the wound for a third, but it's a collapse from Vanguards that we almost saw coming as a result of some of the goals that were put away in previous games, but that certainly not one I expected.
I don't think anybody expected what has happened in this game 4. It's kept the eyes certainly open, the blood certainly pumping for these players here with the adrenaline. As that ball has been tucked to the side here, the likelihood is this game is over. It's done. It's dusted. I know there's an itchy finger ready for a VT, the B-roll, the old-fashioned reel to be brought out here, or maybe even the VHS. That's showing a bit of age here in this commentary booth here, but I believe we do have a championship field. We've had twice this week already, the two of us in this booth, seen a decider. Wasn't necessarily a classic. Maybe we might have one here.
Absolutely, and Fearless Bravo taking a crucial win to keep them involved in this series and keep us entertained, taking us to Game 5, like you say, Danny. And you know what? We haven't had too many of these Game 5 affairs in the playoff brackets. I believe we've had 2 so far, making this our 3rd, and it certainly is going to be one of a back-and-forth affair if, well, what's been seen previously is to be believed, but Fearless Bravo in that particular game doing what needed to be done to lock in their offense and create those opportunities. No real standout performances from the team in blue, just a well-worked team effort.
Well, certainly so, and just to put this into context as well while we shape ourselves to this game number 5, and do you know what I mean? I want to hold that thought for a second, because Psycho, there has been something drawn to my attention from the statistics page that we just saw on our screens there. And there was a black mark on our original Game 1. Somebody with 44 points and didn't do very much there. Jez, if you're going to pick up a performance of a lifetime, perhaps this might be the game to do it.
Or maybe, Danny, your dreams will come true, and Jessica will deliver the performance of his lifetime in this game number 5. Certainly a storyline I'll be rooting for from the black mark set in game number 1, as Danny foreshadowed his own demise. hopefully about to be reverted in style by the player in orange, and 44 points last game. Not a performance you want to end up with, as Dem9 striking first on an open net almost is just about seen wide by a keeper who arrived at the very last second. As Tyder strikes the left-hand side of the field, and Dem9 collecting it in his own back corner needs to try and find the way of support in his own teammates, and it's going to be Jezical to try and drive something forward for Vanguards.
Them straight up and around. That's at least pop up. Into the corner it goes. Now will it be plugged? JW, big stop. Not coming out. There is a time when the big players shine and cowards go hiding. Who was hiding in the defence here?
It has to be the team in orange, in a fantastically well-worked pass from Dem9. He recognised the fact that he would have a player in the middle supporting him and opted to throw it there straight away. Not even a first touch to establish his own control, just throw it in the middle and see what happens. And it did cement the opportunity that was needed for Fearless Bravo to get their opening lead in this game number 5, as everything's hanging on the balance as Jezical lunges for a demo, even though his team has absolutely no control. A little bit of aggression, perhaps foreshadowing the rest of this game, Danny.
Certainly so, and Dem just pops that one into the corner. JW needs to have a moment here. It's just been left into the corner. Not happening just yet here for either side here. Tyler into the middle, no. And Jezical, what a pass that was, and unfortunately the team's not in ready. Pesky, oh, he's fancy this, he fancy this, and arguably one of the worst ever players in the play-ins. Have had one series in a particular game that was shocking. This one is off the Richter scale.
Absolutely, but Pesky Bird, contrary to the slanders against Vanguards, has managed to tear apart the defense in orange. Jezical being the first player to reach out and struggle to get a touch on the looming Pesky Bird, and the last man simply not in a supportive position to deal with the threat. And that was ultimately all that was needed to get themselves the goal, as Pesky Bird has done so much, not only in this game, but this series, to put goals on the board for Fearless Bravo, and I feel he's the offensive driving player in blue at the moment.
Time for the sympathy card. Oh wait, I don't do sympathy. Sorry, carry on, Cycle.
I was very much hoping Jezical would be the player to rise to the occasion, but unfortunately there's simply no hiding from Danny's black mark, as, well, Jezical's story has been well and truly painted by my fellow co-caster, unfortunately, living up to Danny's, perhaps his own expectations, as at the moment Vanguards, they only have 2 minutes 30 on the clock. It looks like a useless affair to be able to get back into this game, and the team in orange struggling, continuing to struggle, and Mamba just about sees that one wide. Could have easily been 4.
Well, at this moment in time, the defence is almost threadbare. Not once us at least tempted on target. We've barely seen this side in red really do much potency on the other end, as JW just pre-jumps from a mile away. If my vision was correct there, as JW just lobs this one down. This is an easy touch for the defence. Oh, I thought this wasn't Prospect. Have we accidentally went down?
It's often what happens, Danny, in these playoff situations. Not only do we have a game on stream where all these players know they're being watched, but we've actually taken it the distance to game number 5. And who were we kidding? How could we not expect it all to crumble at the last second?
You can arguably sit here and talk about how well a Fearless Bravo done to get in this position and climb themselves to be stripping apart their opposition here, as they finally Vanguard scores 1. I would like to say this is all over, this is too late, but I won't this time, because the Rive told the story themselves tonight.
We'll see what happens, Danny. We'll see what happens. We'll see if the optimism will be key to Vanguard's successes, as Mamba touching off the wall and is unfortunately going to beat his own teammate in the process of following it up as Jezical best by Pesky Bird. Mamba in the corner struggling to gain some space for his team, but has done exactly that as Dem can only go laterally across, and a teammate in blue there ready and prepared to deal with that particular situation as Mamba almost able to touch it past JW Cinema, but the structure of this Fearless Bravos team seems strong, Danny. I can't believe the words are coming out of my mouth and what's happening on screen is actually happening. But there has been a bit of space opened up on the end of blue. And look at the result of what's happened.
Speaking from what's always been happening, if you're watching this on the VODs right now, well, hello. We hope you've enjoyed so far tonight's stream. And if you're watching this live, well, I hope you've enjoyed the advertisement, because I think Vanguard would be glad that their embarrassing performance wasn't majorly on screen so far, and they've been courteously given a second goal there, Seiko. They might get a third one if they want to be cheeky about it, but that shot will not help the cause, as the next 30 seconds is a big heave-ho and a big shove required.
And JW Cinema trying to beat Mamba, but perhaps a situation where he needed to slow things down and look for a 50-50, something to establish some control in his own back end, but he's only gone and pushed the ball straight back in the possession of the orange side, as Tida now at the back needs a strong clearance to get something going for the team in orange. Simply not their day, Danny.
It wasn't. It looked very promising. Arguably within those 4 games, the ball has finally hit the ground. It does mean Affairs Bravo move on to play Wizard. Vanguard's not out of the tournament just yet. They will play Thanos earlier in the lower bracket, and that will be the lower round 1 match outright. However, we had 4 games. Very much close, Psycho. Very much poised for a game 5. In fact, I would say everybody from a neutral perspective wanted more, and we got that. I wouldn't call that a classic. Rip the tape up and forget about it.
Absolutely not. And it was a fun series to watch from front to back. Lots of spanners thrown in the works from my anticipations, especially of how the series was going to go after that game 1, where everything looked so solid and secure for both teams. And slowly but surely, the high pressure, the nerves came through. And ultimately, for both of these teams, it was a shaky affair towards the tail end. And Vanguard's on the receiving end more so of that, Danny.
Certainly so, and with everything that has been happening so far, I don't know if we can bring the play-ins bracket to at least recap what has happened today so far. Our fabulous producer or observer, the man of many talent, Cameron, has been doing everything so far tonight. We have actually been joined as well by Orion and Tom, respectively, in game 2 and 1. But so far here, I think it would be fair to say, Psycho, probably most of the teams who've got here very much deserving into the playoff itself this weekend. That's here on RSC. Of course, feel free to tune in at that point here. It's just the real question is who's going to win it? Should we have a prediction? I'm going to err on the side of caution and duck that one.
And you know what, Danny? I'm going to go completely against that and throw a prediction my way, because you know what? Why not? I only live once, so I'm going to throw out a prediction which is going to be completely irrelevant and wrong when the time happens. But so far, the story of the wheelchair-bound Archaon in the back seats, sitting behind, not getting involved, letting his teammates have a little go on the sticks themselves, getting involved in a crucial stage in that series has cemented Anarchy in my mind as strong favourites to go on and win it all, because it's a storyline I simply cannot let die, Danny.
And on things that won't happen this weekend, you've just heard it here live on RSC. But from all of us here, we hope you've enjoyed tonight. 2 more days to go in terms of the week's entertainment. Still plenty to go, though. Until then, good night.